Thank you, Swami. I'm honored to be here. My name is Mira. I heard your lecture yesterday on the Gita, and you discussed consciousness as an experiencing, and we were just discussing dreams, which ties into my question. The purpose of my question is to make sleep part of my spiritual practice, to improve my sleep quality, and to relate my sleep while I'm sleeping into an actual spiritual practice of my life. When I look at consciousness and my experience with it, I have 3 different experiences. One, during an accident when I was fortunate enough to be able to detach and reach that place of white peacefulness where you're aware of other beings, but you feel yourself dissolving, which I guess is consciousness expanding. You may feel you're going up, but you're not. You're simply expanding. Then there's that feeling of, when you're meditating and you get your brain into the right vibration and it opens up that black hole into that peacefulness, but no one's there. You don't have a sense of any other beings, but just of peacefulness. So now you don't have that consciousness of other people at all, just the consciousness of pure bliss and peace. Then when you go to sleep, I've been told or read also that try to be aware while you're falling asleep. And you have that feeling of being almost sucked into your body like a black hole, and you feel that bliss. Where is my consciousness at that point? Is it going into almost like a black hole that presides in I believe, by our heart or in our brain, or is it expanding?
I think I understand, yes. Advaita Vedanta, which is what we are discussing here, is not about feeling. It's about knowing. And therefore, Advaita Vedanta is done in the waking state, in full alertness of mind, when we can inquire clearly. It uses sleep as a powerful tool for understanding who we are or what consciousness truly is. Now, to answer your question directly, the 3 experiences you talk about, the experience of dissociating from the world, body, mind, in a sudden shock of an accident. It happens. I've heard this earlier. 1. The experience of floating out into impersonal space in meditation. And when you try to track yourself down into sleep, that experience, the feeling you get when you fall asleep, like being sucked into a black hole. All of this, all 3 experiences are the mind. They are the mind. Whenever there is change from this to that, mind. Whenever there is expansion, mind. Whenever there is contraction, mind. Whenever there is alert, I feel more conscious. No. Advaita Vedanta will say that's mind. I feel dull, that's mind. And I'm awake, dreaming, deep sleep, that's mind. Consciousness, according to Advaita Vedanta, is one and the same all throughout. Whether you're awake, whether you're dreaming, whether you're in deep sleep, or you means the mind. The mind is in awake, dreaming, or deep sleep. Whether the mind is dissociating in a sudden moment of being knocked off its normal way of functioning. It could be by an accident, it could be by a meditative technique. Consciousness is still the same. And to come to see that through a process of inquiry in the waking state. Once you see that, you will see your feelings also will fall into line. The other way around, using our feelings to understand what we truly are, to come to realization, that will also work. But there's a lot of hit and miss there, and that requires a skilled guide. It's the right kind of feeling which will point to consciousness as we are. Otherwise, there are many kinds of feelings. And then you will get a feeling of expanding consciousness, contracting consciousness, consciousness being sucked into a black hole, consciousness suddenly diffusing from the world, body, mind, all those things you said. Is it invalid? No. There is a whole set of techniques which does exactly what you do, what you said. You're not supposed to go into an accident, but there are techniques which simulate that. So what I'm talking about is at least two traditions I know. They have whole sets of techniques to do that. One is Kashmiri Shaivism in the text called Vijnana Bhairava. 112 techniques are there. Some of them are sudden techniques, like what happens to the mind suddenly when it's exposed to a dramatic shift like an accident. But then you can't keep putting people into accidents in the hope they'll get enlightened. No, but they simulate. So for example, they're very interesting techniques. One is sky gazing. You lie down in an open field. Central Park is very good at this time of the year for that. It's a beautiful day out there, by the way. You lie down there, and if there's an infinitely clear and blue sky, you look. This is open eyes meditation. You look into it. Now notice, it's vast blue without limit. You can't see the ground, just blue, and endless vast blue. It's space and a luminous space. It's material. So you are supposed to intensely focus on the limitless blueness, luminosity of that vast space. And then, in a moment, this is the dramatic part of it. In a moment, close your eyes. And you will feel the absence of that vast blue space. But you are the awareness in which the vast blue space was appearing. Drop that. Drop that awareness too. Because that's still the mind. What happens then? You can't say. If you try to know what happens, then the mind will kick in again. And it's much better to go into these short samadhis instead of the long one. For untrained yogis like most of us, if you try to prolong deep meditation, what will happen is, which we're supposed to do in yoga, if you try to prolong it, in our case, what will happen is the mind will kick in and start working again. So it's much better to keep short-circuiting the mind once in a while. So this is Vijnana Bhairava. Exactly like that, there is another very similar set of techniques in the Tibetan Dzogchen tradition. So this is a whole and very sophisticated, very interesting area. It depends upon your predilections, what attracts you. Remember, all those techniques, they are all techniques to point to the same reality which Advaita Vedanta is pointing to. But Advaita Vedanta is not those techniques. Advaita Vedanta is a process of inquiry, where you see the data collected in waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and ponder over it with the help of the pointers from the Upanishads and the Advaitic texts. And then you come to see. Not just intellectually, very, very vividly. I think that's all I can say.